Hey, how's it going tonight, guys? We are streaming. And we're gonna get nuts. Let's get nuts. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired of life. Life has been kicking my butt for the last couple days of all different kinds of things. For anyone who might be stumbling across this stream, a couple things. One, most likely you're coming from my other channel, which is about Christian theology. And so if you're here for that stuff, that's not what's happening today. I thought it'd be kind of fun to test out something. Ecamm, my software, lets me stream to multiple platforms. And I was like, you know what? My little movie channel is growing. I'm gonna try to get some people to come and hang out with me tonight and talk about movies. So this is just about movies, and really whatever movies you want to talk about. Because when life is kicking your butt, I always find the best thing to do is run for the hills and distract yourself. So that is what I'm doing tonight. I just thought I've got, for anyone who really cares about my personal life, I've got one kid who's been in and out of the hospital for the last couple months with type 1 diabetes and getting all that diagnosed, and it's been awful and hard. And then yesterday, my youngest, who's 3, started having really heavy labored breathing and barking like a seal. And a lot of you parents know that means bad stuff. So we took him in. He is in the hospital. So if you are the praying type, obviously people with my other channel probably are. So appreciate prayers. And if you just are and you like movies and you're the praying type, please pray. Hopefully he'll be out tomorrow. But enough of the real stuff. Let's talk about people doing fake things. Let's talk about the beautiful people that we hire and pay millions of dollars to walk around in superhero suits and, like the cowboy hats and all the outfits and all of that fun stuff to go and entertain us, to distract us from the hardships, the cold apathy of life. Oh man, it's one of those things. So I thought it'd be fun to first talk about something that I did talk about. I did make a video on my movie channel, Movie Dean. That's the channel that this is mostly streamed on. But I did do a video kind of reacting to the news, but it's too big. It's too big of news. I'll probably do another video about it once I really get my thoughts. But you can see him. He's right here. Look, guys, it's Superman. It's legit. It's legit Superman. We finally have some casting. Let's go over. I think we go over here. Yes, it works. Brilliant. All right, so we have some casting for Superman Legacy, and hop into the chat, guys. This stream will go as long as you guys ask me questions, and please ask me questions, because I stress folded all the laundry up until 1:30 a.m. last night. So I need a distraction, okay? So just ask me some questions about whatever movies, your favorite movies. You want to talk about that? We can talk about that. My favorite movies. You want to know my favorite whatever kind of movie? Let me know. We just hop into the chat and throw it in. And if you're kind of weirded out by the chat, because I know there are some people who watch and they just hop in the chat. I promise. We'll be nice. We aren't mean around here. This is one of those streams that's going to make fun of you. Unless you're Michael S., who's already in the chat. We'll probably make fun of him. We'll also make fun of me for leaving the air conditioning on. But you probably can't even hear that because this microphone is actually pretty good. All right. So Superman Legacy finds lead with David Corenswet. Oh, man. Everyone is I've watched a couple videos while I was in the hospital. And my wife is there now with them. But because we got other kids. Anyways, enough of real life, Dean. I watched some videos and everyone's like, I don't know how to say his name. And I think it is just Corenswet. I think it's just as simple as it looks. But he is Superman. He is Clark Kent. And I mean, just look at his face. Look at this guy. He looks just like, actually, look, check this out. Okay, so we have Henry Cavill and David Cornsweet, and like they look like the same dude, just like a little bit younger, not even that much younger to be honest, a little bit smaller. Obviously, Cavill like built himself up like a mountain. He's just a mountain of a dude, and so yeah, a little intimidating. And but David Cornsweet, I'm sure, will probably do that, but they look pretty dang similar. And then, like, I just started going through some of my comics, and because I am that kind of guy, and I was like, which Superman does he look like? Because he looks like one of them. To me, like, hair is different, but he kind of looks like John Romita Jr.'s Superman to me. You know, like, I think that's what they're going to be going for, like that kind of like really athletic version, a little emo-y. I could see that. I don't, like they say, going for warmth and kindness, and if they go off of Jeff Johns or Brian Michael Bendis, I never remember how to say his name. But any of those guys, I think, will probably be pretty good. Like, this story looks like it's going to be good. James Gunn, the way he talks about Superman makes me go like, I think this guy really gets it. And I went away from the wrong screen. There we are. So I just thought it'd be fun to talk about him. What do you guys think? Do you think he'll make, like, when you go back? I'm just switching screens all over the place. But if you go back over here, do you think he'll make a good Superman? Like, I mean, like, he looks the part to me, but maybe, you know, we'll see about his acting. I haven't seen him like in anything. I'm going to have to watch some of the stuff. But then Rachel Brosnahan, I guess we can't just like glance past that. What is that, sexism or something? But Rachel Brosnahan, I haven't watched The Marvelous Miss what is it? Marvelous Miss Maisel or something like that. I just see ads for it all the time on Amazon Prime. And every time, like, she looks like Lois Lane. Like, I've been saying that for like months. So, but there was like rumors that she wasn't going to get it because she was too familiar of a face because of that show. I'm glad that they cast her because from even just those little trailers that I've watched, she can be that spunky Lois Lane who's like a go-getter reporter, gonna get the story. So I think this could be really fun. This mix, this casting here, I think it's pretty spot on. I don't really have any faults with it. I'm gonna like think about it more and probably put out a video, but dang it, I did it again. I've been streaming for a long time, guys. I promise. But yeah, I'm pretty psyched. I'm pretty psyched about this casting. I think it's going to be great. All right. Throw in the questions. Whatever movies you want to talk about. We could talk about anything. Any of the movies. Just not real life, please. Okay. Michael S. is here. My man. I love you, Michael. I love you. Indy 5, a Flash level collapse. Blew out the microphone. All right. Here's the deal. Flash was historically bad. Like, historically, a collapse. Like, it's going to be the thing that people talk about when they're talking about, hey, can a huge budget movie like totally biff it at the box office and make like zero money? They're going to call it like, it's going to flash. Like, they're going to use it as a verb in a different way than some other people do. And it's going to go down. It's going to bomb. That's what it's going to mean. Like, it is historical. So, will Indy 5 do that same thing? I don't think so. Here's the reason. Like, I think a lot of people are underestimating how little the general population, like general audiences, people who just spend all the money, not people like me. Like, you put out any kind of big budget movie, I'm going to see it. Like, whether I go to the theater, you know, whether I bring my whole family, or whether I wait till it's going to be, you know, on digital or something at home, I'm eventually going to see it. Every big budget movie, because that's me. I'm a huge movie fan, and it's not just big budgets. I'm just saying, like, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about right now. But I think that I'm the minority. if you're super into movies, you're the minority. The vast majority of people didn't know about the Flash. They know Superman, they know Batman. Some of them know Green Lantern. Obviously, not too many because, Ryan Reynolds. But I think that a lot of people just didn't know about the Flash. Yeah, there's the CW TV show. That's a constant comment that I get. But that's on CW. That's for teenagers. It's been going for a long time, but look at the ratings. It hasn't been great. CW put something out just a couple months ago that they actually never made money off of that show. That's crazy. So this wasn't on, CBS. This wasn't getting the NCIS crowd. This wasn't getting everybody. It was a small TV show that they had on a small channel. And I don't think that general audiences really cared about the Flash. They didn't build him up well in Justice League, at least the Justice League that came out for everybody. So I think that played way more into it than people are willing to admit. And then, of course, the Ezra Miller crap. So I don't think that Indy 5 is going to do that. Now, that being said, I don't think it's going to perform great. I'm not seeing it as a huge success. A couple weeks ago, I said 78. Or last week, I said 78 million opening weekend for Indy 5, which is going to be on the low end, right? That's going to be something they were hoping for something well over 100. But there's no buzz about this. But here's the thing. My in-laws are psyched about Indiana Jones 5. They don't go to the movies for everything. They're not jumping out to go and see, I don't know, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They're not going there. But they know about Indiana Jones, and they know that it's coming out here pretty quick. So I think that's a good gauge to kind of go this is something that all of us love, not just specific movie fans, not just a specific genre. This is for everybody, different generations. Now, maybe it's not going to get the young kids. Okay, maybe it's not going to get the really, really young ones because it's not super popular with them. But here's the thing. They don't pay as much money as people think. They go and they go see, the new horror movie and different things like that. And I don't know, what do the youths do? What is his name? I'm thinking of New Girl. What's his name? Just blanked on his name. But the youths are going to go and see those kinds of movies. But they're a small fraction of what it's going to be as far as all the generations that are out there that go to movies. So I think that it will do okay. It's not going to come in great. It's not going to be a huge success, and it's definitely not going to be the thing that unites all the Indiana Jones fans and we all go, "Yay, we got over it!" From Crystal Skull. It's just going to be more of ugh. And I don't know. This is a whole thing. I think that there is something that happened with Endgame that I feel Avengers Endgame that I feel just had ripple effects on all of pop culture. I don't know if we're ever going to come together about any movie that comes out and says this is great. I guess Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse right now is what that is for movie fans, but still a lot of people haven't seen that one either, even though it's making bank. So I don't think that's going to be that big of a collapse. Michael says it supposedly has a $295 million budget. Woof! Is that a Harrison Ford woof from Shrinking? I just started that show. Really, really, really digging it. Woof. That's too much. They need to get better with the budgets, man. You hear about Pixar, everything is $200 million for their budgets. Knock it off. Come on. Roland says, what happened to the Flash? Well, made $55 million after they sunk probably upwards of $500 million into this movie. Made 50 in its opening weekend. So there's that. Philip is here. Hey man, favorite kind of laundry in movies. Have you ever seen anyone folding laundry in a movie? Up in the Air. Up in the Air with George Clooney. You didn't think I would come up with one, but I did. Up in the Air. I love that movie. But I love George Clooney. George Clooney is one of those guys. except for maybe something that came out recently that I always love to see in a movie. He's one of the last like real movie stars, and I just love him in pretty much everything. But Up in the Air, he folds laundry in that when he's going all over in damn airplanes. Gotcha, Philip. Pam is here. Hey, Pam. Catch Me If You Can, Truman Show, Gladiator, and Secret Life of Walter Mitty are some of my favorites. I love all of those movies, except for Gladiator. I'm so sorry. I know I'm a man, and so apparently I'm supposed to think that Gladiator is like the best movie to ever come out. But honestly, like I grew up, and maybe it's just because I was like really conservative, but I grew up watching Ben-Hur. And so like I was like, what? With Gladiator? I was like, why is everyone loving this? Is Ben-Hur. Like this isn't as good as Ben-Hur. So like why is everyone loving this thing? But I have watched it like multiple times, and the more I watch it, the more I like it. Djimon Hounsou is incredible in it. And Russell Crowe, I don't know. I can't, there's something about him. I just, for the same reason, like there's just something about George Clooney that I just really love. And I always find him so charming, and, not that way with Russell Crowe. But who knows? Craven the Hunter might turn me around. But all the other movies, Catch Me If You Can is fantastic. What a fun movie. Like maybe one of the most like secretly great Christmas movies, you know, like because he calls Tom Hanks every Christmas, or Frank. Is it Frank? Truman Show. So good. Brilliant idea. And Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Oh man. The Ben Stiller version. It is a remake, and the Ben Stiller version, I don't know why people trashed on it, and it's so good. Oh, it's like, you know, that's maybe a movie I should watch when life's not going great. You can watch that movie and somehow be encouraged, even though his life, like he's so miserable, but at the end he's able to like persevere, and it's like I love that movie too. What a great film. Aaron says he looks like a scrawnier Henry Cavill. A little bit. But here's the thing. He's going to get fed so much chicken. Like all these guys. I feel so bad for him. Poor Hugh Jackman. I mean, not really poor, because he's literally given so many millions of dollars to play Wolverine. But like all these guys who just have to bulk up for years on end and like always be huge because they're showing up in other movies too. Like they eat so much just bland, nasty chicken to be able to be that size. And that's what David's gonna have to do. Corn Sweat. Well, it's gonna be hard to say that name. But yeah, he looks like him. But I mean, like, look at this. Not Batman. I love the Batman. But like this one. He's so awesome looking. Like I'm just like, yes, I just hope he's a good actor. But I did say this when I like did my like kind of reaction to it when I was in the hospital again. Like I know I might not like, I'm not saying like my stuff is like, it looks the best, but I really do try. And so it really bothers me when I just have to like do one of those videos that is just like sitting somewhere. Like the Meg trailer reaction, that's probably I think the biggest video on my Movie Dean channel. Like that was just me sitting on my couch and reacting to it, and then I edited it in the hospital room. And it frustrates me that that's my biggest video, but it got people to come, so that's fine. Philip says, well, he may be scrawnier version, but I'm a fatter, balder version. Looks like someone's trying to be Lex Luthor. Philip for Lex Luthor. I'm gonna do a reaction to that and just be like, I'm pretty sure. What are your top 3 Nick Cage movies? Defend your choices. Also, have you seen Matchstick Men? I saw Matchstick Men way back in the day, but I don't remember a whole lot about it. My top 3 Nick Cage movies. Oh man. All right. I know it's kind of cheating, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. would be number one. Noir Spider-Man is so funny. Like, and my oldest son thinks so too. I love his mind because he was just like, one of my favorite moments is when he's playing with the Rubik's cube and it's like they're all different colors and he like realizes that, like, oh. um so I really dig him in that. Gone in 60 Seconds. I don't know why. Probably because me and my best buddy in high school watched it like multiple times. He was huge into cars, and so we watched that a bunch. And I just loved it. It was a fun movie. Like, I don't know. The older I get, the more I'm like, I just really dig fun movies that, like, it doesn't really have to make sense. Why do you have to get all these cars in there in 1 minute? You know, like, it's but I just have fun. And Angelina Jolie in that movie is like super weird, but to me it works. Um, I don't want to say National Treasure, but I do like that movie too. Like, it's just a kids movie, but I find it to be fun. Probably the unbearable weight of massive talent, or whatever. I always blank on the title of that, but he played himself, played two different versions of himself, opposite Pedro Pascal in this weird buddy movie, like this buddy heist movie in a way. And I just thought it was hilarious. And I don't know if anyone else could do that. Like, I don't. De Niro, maybe, like, if he was that self-aware, maybe he could do it. But I don't know of anyone else who could just do that really well. So I'd probably say that, but Into the Spider-Verse would be number one. I just think he was perfectly positioned for that role. Tyler, can you please explain what is meant by the DC reboot? I have no idea. Okay, that's the thing. I can't explain it to you because they keep on being like, maybe something's going to be able to come in. Like, even in The Flash, there is a character that is alluded to in a scene. I don't want to give major spoilers, but they talk about a character and that in every universe he was him. And so apparently that person is going to be coming into the new universe on his own, or at least that's what the movie made it seem to be. But then you hear stuff and it's like, no, everyone is out and we're starting completely fresh. And obviously we got a new Superman. I don't know exactly what it means, except for I think what they're going to do is just scrap everything and start completely over. So everything that's come before is just gone. And they're going to be, continuing on with this DCU. So just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Universe moving forward with James Gunn in charge and Peter Safran making all the money decisions. But yeah. What? We are talking about movies. I know it's kind of hard because I'm streaming on two different things. But Pam, do you like the Bourne movies? Did you ever see Con Air? I have seen Con Air. I dug that movie, mostly for the mullets. Mullets are great in the tank tops. But the Bourne movies, I don't know what it is about some of these spy movies. I find them so repetitive. It's probably the same reason why I'm not good with procedurals. It has to have like unique characters for me to actually like dig a procedural show. Like, we're cops. We're going to go catch the bad guy this week and that week and that week. And I know it's hypocritical because I love comics and that's basically all comics are. But for some reason with TV shows and movies, like, I kind of steer away from those. So spy movies for me aren't high on the list. That being said, the Bourne movies and Mission Impossible movies are at the height of what that genre can be. And in high school, it was huge. Like, that's when the Bourne movies just came out. And I remember everyone being excited for the second one and we all go. And I remember having a good time, but to me, those movies aren't that rewatchable. And also Matt Damon, to me, I know he was chosen because he is like the everyman, but I just find, I don't want to be mean. He makes a lot of money, and smart people, pick him to be in their movies. But for me, his best role is The Martian because he's really funny in it. But in a lot of other movies, I just find him to be the weakest part of the movie. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe that's just like my dedication to Jimmy Kimmel coming out. But I don't know. I just don't really find him all that interesting. He just always looks like, just shocked. Okay. All right, guy, you're a spy. So the Bourne movies are fun, but Phil says, the Bourne movies. Thoughts on shaky cam action scenes? In the second one with the bus, like there's like a chase scene that's next to a bus or something, and it's just like, can I move this? If I do this, I'm just, it's just like, no, I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that later. Can't go back to that one anymore. But I don't like it. Actually, that scene made me physically ill. All right. Like I didn't vomit or anything, but it was like, I do not enjoy this. Stop it right now. It's also one of the main problems with, what is the Liam Neeson movie Taken? I'm thankful for that title because where his daughter is like taken. Yeah, Taken. But Taken is okay. But there's still a lot of shaky cam in that one. And then the other ones, though, it's just like all shaky cam. And I can't watch those movies. I just can't. Yeah. Schmidt. Thanks, Heidi. I knew someone was going to be like, you dummy. Thank you for being nice. The Geek Ledger. Hey! Superman and Lois is insanely good. I get it's on the CW, but what they've done with that show in the 3 seasons is crazy with a low to mid-level budget. The upcoming 4th and final season has me so hyped. That's cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I will say I watched the first couple episodes. I lost interest. But again, you got to do a lot. I don't watch a lot of TV. Okay. And the TV that I do watch has like really, really deep characters. And I'm not saying that show doesn't. It's something about it. I just lost interest. I think I watched the majority of the first season, but I will say that first episode, the pilot, some of my favorite Superman things I've ever seen. Like I loved, like it sounds awful, I loved when his mom died. I think that was right around the time my mom died. And Superman, guys, I could get real emotional about Superman. Superman is what my mom called me when I was little. It was kind of our thing. She loved Christopher Reeve. And so Superman has he is my favorite superhero. And I just have a real strong connection to Superman. That's why Superman is up there somewhere, always in the set because of my mama. And it was right around the same time. And so just how he drops everything. And there's like this shot of Superman flying, like he hears or something. Like, isn't it something like that? I forget exactly how he finds out, whether it was a phone call. Maybe he was on the phone. I'm blanking exactly on like the circumstances before. But as soon as he knows that his mom has passed, he drops everything and he flies home. And there's this shot of the barn. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. He flies like the screen just has the barn in the middle. He flies one side and runs as Clark Kent on the other side to go be with his mom. And it's just, that got me real hard. So I love that pilot and I will rewatch it in the future, but I just didn't get super into that show, but I hear a lot of people love it and maybe I will. I remember they did Steel, so that's kind of fun. But I haven't really watched anything since. I remember something about Lana with the bank and there was some conspiracy. That's pretty much all I remember. All right, Tyler. No, we're going to see Dead Reckoning Part 1. You're going to see Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's going to be good. All right, it looks really good. The thumbnail does say ask me anything, to be fair. That's true. Being John Malkovich. I have never seen it. Oh no. Do I lose my movie card? There are lots of movies that I haven't seen, to be honest. I just really like movies, and I just watch what I'm entertained by and talk about those things that I'm passionate about. But a lot of people love Being John Malkovich, and I just still haven't seen him. I haven't seen that one. I've seen John Malkovich on screen, not in real life. Roland, Indy 5 is tracking for a $70 million opening, which as of late tracking has been high. Yeah. I think, like I said, a couple weeks ago, I said 78. That's what I guess it's going to make, which would be extremely low given its budget and, the hopes that Disney has for bringing back this franchise. Why bring back this franchise? Why invest so much money and risk so much? Every time you bring back a lovable franchise like this, like a legacy, there's a risk that you take in hurting the IP, hurting the brand. And we saw that with Crystal Skull. It hurt it quite a bit. And this might hurt it again, but I'm hopeful. I've heard some good things, some concerning things about the CGI, but also some things that may have me going like, I think I might like it. It seems like a movie that I'll like. Carl says Indy 5 will fall off a cliff after the first weekend. Yeah. I mean, like that's kind of the way it's been lately, except if you got Spider-Man, I guess, in your movie. It's just like so many movies have just come out and fumbled. Coming into this summer, I was so excited for all these blockbusters, but then, the blockbusters haven't been super great, but also like they just have really suffered at the box office. Like people aren't going to see these things. So it's it's totally fair, none. Totally fair. Just saying, we're sticking to movies today. No worries. Cody, hey man. What are your top watch this movie to understand my humor, personality, movies? Easy answer. Orange County. If you want to know pretty much anything about me, watch Orange County. It is me. I am Colin Hanks. I feel like I can resonate with that story so much. And, and then it's like incredibly funny. And it's like all of it is my high school experience. And I think people don't like it, but who you are in high school is who you're going to be for the rest of your life. I firmly believe that. You're going to be at least some version of that. We learn and we grow as people, but I think that a lot of our personality is really like cemented, I guess, in high school. So for me, it's Orange County. I think it's an incredible story, super underrated. The guy who is like the showrunner for White Lotus, which everyone is loving right now and is winning all kinds of Emmys and stuff. And he also did School of Rock. He did Orange County. It was his like big movie coming out. And, it was Colin Hanks' first movie, I think. And I think he's done really well. Like, obviously, he's not going to be his dad, but he's a really good actor, and he does a great performance in that movie. And Jack Black is funny as heck, man. Oh, man. The funniest thing in the world to me, I could watch it all the time, is when Colin Hanks throws himself face first. I need to do a video about this movie because it's in my top 10. I just love this movie so much. But when Colin Hanks falls face first into the pool after getting rejected for Stanford, Jack Black is like running and he's like, "Oh no, brother." But he's in his underwear. He runs into the pool. And as he is jumping into the pool to save his brother, he's like kicking, like doing Jack Black stuff, but like kicking all the way in. And it's just the funniest thing in the world to me. Like, just like the difference between these two brothers. I love the contrast. So Orange County would be the one. Like, now some other comedies, Clue. Clue would probably be my second favorite comedy. Just everything about that. I mean, I think I've got all the sounds in here. Um, this is one.
I feel like an
This
angel
isn't from Clue,
baby
but it's him.
swaddled in a cocoon of cloud candy.
But
I steadfastly refuse.
or
Flames on the side of my face.
just I love everything about Clue, so that would be another one. Trying to think if any other ones just pop to my head of comedies that I just really love. I mean, I didn't like it at the time. Like, I mean, like I liked it, but I kind of like was like, oh, this is a little too much for me at the time. Anchorman is just something that I always go back to. So I know that's like literally everyone in life. Roland says Ben-Hur is one of the best movies ever. Yeah. Those were the kind of movies I was allowed to watch as a kid. So like I watched a lot of those ones and musicals, and I have 5 older sisters. So we had to share the TV. And so a lot of rom-coms, a lot of Little Women, stuff like that. The 94 one is the best one, by the way. I definitely judge people for not liking Walter Mitty. One of my top 10 for sure. It's just good. And then Jose Gonzalez with the soundtrack. Every song on that soundtrack hits. It's perfect. So, and like the montages of like what Ben Stiller is thinking, what Walter is thinking in his head, all of it's great. Russell Crowe, yeah, mixed feelings. Yeah, there's probably a lot of different reasons for that. Aaron says, my When Life's Not Going Great movie is Jeremiah Johnson. My wife shakes her head every time, but it's a vibe. I have never seen this. I will have to look this up, Aaron. I dig your style, so maybe that's what I should watch. Pam says, cinematography in Walter Mitty is unreal, and they did almost all stunts for real, not CGI. Watch behind the scenes. Yeah, I have watched the behind the scenes for that movie. It is one of my favorites. So I really dig that movie. Michael says Spider-Man Noir was my fave. Yeah. And Heidi says Jeremiah Johnson's plot, everyone around him does, including his wife. But then he becomes a great fighter and Mountain Man. Somehow it feels like that shouldn't be my husband's favorite movie. Whatever. We all have our favorites. But Roland says, I wrote a book where there is a vigilante attacking a mafia. Is it Hawkeye? Did you write Hawkeye? It's a noir mystery. Did you write Hawkeye? Where everyone is trying to figure out who this Batman vigilante is. Is it Hawkeye? It looks just like Noir Spider-Man. Oh, it's not Hawkeye. That sounds awesome. Have you read Matt Fraction's run of Hawkeye? I love it. I dig it a lot. It's what the TV show was kind of based off of, like the jumpsuit mafia with the bruh, all that kind of stuff, taken directly from the comics. The art, David Aja's art, or Aja's art. I never know how to say his name. I have the first appearance of Lucky the Pizza Dog. My wife got that for me a couple years ago. Actually, I think it was after my mom died. It was just something she got me to kind of cheer me up. And I love Lucky the Pizza Dog. And she got me the first appearance. I only have like the graphic novels. So that was really cool. So that's one of my favorites. Oh, dies, not does. Okay. Well, Tyler, what do you think will be your favorite movie of 2023? It's going to be hard for it not to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. All right. There's a reason. I had to redo some things. My TV busted the other day. My nice one. My 4K TV. Guys, life has not been going great. Okay. Like, it's just all kinds of stuff. So I had our old TV, which is still a good TV. And kind of probably shouldn't just be like a prop on a YouTube set. But I had the Xbox hooked up so the kids could come over here and play the Xbox on it. But we had to move that one upstairs, and I got the old one sitting there, and hopefully I can fix it. Where was I going with that? But the poster. That's where I was going with it. The poster. I have it up because I love this movie. It's fantastic. The art again. Oh my goodness. Like I saw this in the trailer because my kids watch these trailers all the time. Like we watch trailers every night before putting the kids to bed now. It's just become our thing. And one of the trailers that we watched had a little clip of like maybe a second of the shot. But when Miles is swinging through his city after returning from somewhere, and it's all green, and he's wearing the black and red, like the contrast in that scene is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in my life. Okay. As far as like movies, like it is insanely cool looking. Like the green on the buildings and why they chose to do that, I don't exactly know. And just the exact color palette that they used in that whole sequence is insane. So it's going to be hard. Like looking out though of what I think could beat it. Not a lot of movies, okay? Because this movie was great. I think it will be nominated for an Oscar. Okay, that's how good this movie is. If you haven't seen it, maybe you don't go and watch every comic book movie, and not like me. And you're just like, I don't know. It seems like a kids movie. It is not. It is Back to the Future. Okay, it is like all these stories that we love mixed together. It is, and it's beautiful. And so I think everyone should go out and check this movie out. I hope to do it one more time, at least in movie theaters. But Dune 2, Dune Part 2 could beat it. Just watched Dune again. Unfortunately, not on 4K. My 4K TV broke. Why not buy the 4K? It's so expensive. But watched Dune Part 2 the first Dune the other night and loved it again. I've seen it a bunch of times, but I really dig the style of Denis Villeneuve in it, and everyone is great. Timothée Chalamet, like I know people make fun of him for being like the skinny emo kid that all the girls love for some reason, all these teeny bopper girls, but he's a fantastic actor. He really is. So I get why he's in all these movies, and he is so good as Paul Atreides. So I dig it. So that could be it. I don't think it's going to be Indy 5 at this point. Indy 5 was my second most anticipated movie of the year, and it's fallen way down the list, but I'm hoping it's good. Aquaman 2 could, because I love Aquaman. Like I have a lot of when they did the New 52, which is comics and a new version of it. I have most of the first run. And I just like growing up, I loved Aquaman. I got a lot of Aquaman kind of related stuff. So I just dig Aquaman, and I think Jason Momoa is great. Like I loved him in Fast X. I know a lot of people, that's controversial. You either loved him or you hated him as the Joker in Fast X. But I just really, there's something about him. He's got charisma. He's got energy. And I just really love that first movie because it's not a great movie. Okay. It's not Schindler's List. Okay. I get it. But it's fun. It's fun, and I really enjoy it. And it has an octopus playing the drums. So that's pretty dang fun. So that could be up there just for fun factor. But I don't think anything's going to beat Across the Spider-Verse. It would be very hard for me personally. Now, for other people, obviously, but I have I have a lot of connections with superheroes. It's not just that I love them and I've grown up with them. There's just stuff like I got the ticket stub upstairs of when me and my mom went to go see Spider-Man 2, because I was at that age where like I went to the movies with my mom. And I love that movie so much. And like looking back, a lot of my memories of different people are attached to some of these superheroes. So I love Spider-Man. So it's not Miles Morales, but it's Spider-Man. And so I have those connections. So it's going to be hard for me to have any movie beat that because it was great and it's Spider-Man. So I can't help I'm biased. Philip, best of the original Evil Dead trilogy. Army of Darkness gets me every time. Philip, you're not going to like me. All right. Never seen a single one. You still love me? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I personally offended you. I tried a couple years ago. I tried, even though I love Spider-Man, like the original trilogy, not the original trilogy, but the first two movies that Sam Raimi did. I've learned that I just don't like Sam Raimi's directing. I don't like his style. Like it worked for me in like this, like almost Tim Burton-y kind of way with the Spider-Man movies, where it's just like everything seems a lot like gothic, like as far as the look and everything. But I just don't dig his style with other movies. So, other people love him, I'm sure. But I just have not, like, I tried to watch it and was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I just never came back to it. So sorry. Pam says, I confess to watching Tommy Boy and Black Sheep in an inordinate number of times, but I was a teenager in the 90s. Holy shnikes. I love Tommy Boy. Chris Farley, man. I remember, like for some people on my movie channel, that if anyone is watching from there, it's a smaller channel. So, but if anyone's watching from that channel, I was trained as a pastor, and so I went to a Bible college, and every theology of prayer class, we had like this question that our professor would ask of different things. And there was one time, our professor asked, if you could have lunch with any historical figure, who would it be? And everyone's giving like these really deep answers, trying to kiss his butt, of like, it's all Bible college students. So they're saying things like the apostles, like, or this early church father, in the first century Christianity, like all that kind of stuff to like be spiritual. And I was just like, Chris Farley. and the look that I got from him, and I was like, I wasn't joking. It was like, that's who I'd want to hang out with. I would want to go have lunch with him. And he did not like that answer. But I love him and pretty much everything. I have not delved into that Hawkeye work. You should. Roland, sorry. Didn't have it up there. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Luke Daly, what's up, man? Who's better, Edgar Allan Poe, C.S. Lewis, or Stan Lee? Well, there's some controversy with Stan Lee. Stan Lee is one of my heroes. But he wasn't a perfect individual, and it seems like there's a lot of stuff related to taking a lot more credit than maybe he deserved for different characters and their introductions and stuff. That being said, he's a genius. So C.S. Lewis. Maybe C.S. Lewis, sorry. Heidi, who would you want to play you if they make a movie of your life? Jack Black. Jack Black is my fourth favorite human being. He is. So I would want him to play me. But like you'd have to do some de-aging probably. But Jack Black would be my number one pick. I don't know. Who do you guys think? That's probably the more interesting thing. Who do you guys think should play me in who would make a movie about me? Like, what would it be called? It would be like, not Revenge of the Nerds. But it would be like Locked in My Basement, like, I don't know, make my life into a horror movie. Like, kind of feels like some days. I don't know who would play me. I say Jack Black, but he's a little old. Philip, other than Crow, are there any other actors that just grate on your nerves? Mine was always Philip. See, I always love Hoffman in like everything that he's in. He was in. Like, that was actually like the first actor that passed away that I was like genuinely shocked by. Like, not like to the point of tears or something like that. That was Chadwick Boseman. Man, that was such a loss for like the entire world, especially things going on at the time. But it would be Ezra Miller. Like even before, even before this, it would probably be him. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of actors that I just straight up dislike. I'm gonna have to think about that and get back to you. Like Russell Crowe is one. If he's in it, I'm just kind of like, like even like Thor: Love and Thunder. That was one of his worst roles. Zellweger. I don't know why. Oh, and I'm just coming up with women now. What? Patricia Arquette. Like these are just people that I just genuinely like. I don't know. There's something about them. I never find them convincing. Gonna have to think a little bit more about that one though. Roland says, I loved Arrival by Villeneuve. Yeah. Arrival is fantastic. Oddly enough, I think I've only watched it twice, even though I really love that movie. I should watch it again. We own it. Like I got it on 4K. It's upstairs. Most underrated movie, Shutter Island. I think there's a lot of love for that one. Isn't there? Do people not love it? I thought it was great. Oh. If it is underrated, then yeah, because that movie rocks. Tyler says, what are your thoughts on Oppenheimer? I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see Barbie first, though. I'm just saying. It's got Will Ferrell as the villain in a Barbie movie. I love Will Ferrell. He's another guy that if he's in anything, I'm gonna go see it. Even like there was an article that they wrote about, did anybody know that he like made this Spanish movie about a cowboy? It's like, yeah, me. I remember renting that as soon as it came out on Redbox. Like, I love Will Ferrell and I will see anything that he's in. Kicking and Screaming is an underrated movie. Luke Daly. But Oppenheimer, it's Christopher Nolan. I love Christopher Nolan, but I don't know if he's getting too into his own head. I like Tenet. A lot of people didn't actually, but I really dug it. I have watched it multiple times. Again, own it on 4K. A lot of these like bigger spectacle, like you know that they like shot it in IMAX and all that kind of stuff. I'll get those movies in 4K. And I used to watch them on my 4K TV. Oh, I'll never get over it until I fix it. I fix TVs. I don't throw them out. So I'll find a way to fix it. But I just think he might be a little too into his own head. Like the idea of making a movie about the guy who made the nuclear bomb. I get why some people would do it, but the trailers for me are just coming out as like, this is the most epic thing that has ever been done. And like, maybe it is. I mean, the creation of the nuclear bomb, like obviously a huge step in humanity, whether for good or bad, it was a huge step. And there's obviously a lot of trauma attached to someone who could create such a device, knowing that it was going to be used to wipe out thousands and thousands of lives. Like, obviously there's a story there, but the trailers have been like, there hasn't been anything like this ever. This is the biggest thing to ever happen. And if you do that with a historical drama, like, I think that you're going to lose some people. So for me, I'm just not in the mood for it right now. Like, I'll watch it because I am. Like, are you a Christopher Nolan fan? Yeah, I am. Ever since the Batman movies, I didn't know who he was before then. I was in my teens and, just figuring out what movies I could watch without my parents knowing, stuff like that. We were very conservative. So like the Batman movies kind of showed me who Christopher Nolan was. By the way, I just showed my oldest Batman Begins. We watched it like 2 nights ago. He loved it. Today we were talking and he always asked me like, what's your favorite, whatever. And he's like, what's your favorite superhero movie? And we're talking about that. And what's your favorite Batman movie? And Batman Begins. And he was like, me too. and I have shown him like the 90s Batman movies because they're more cartoony. But this is like, we're going to go legit. And we showed him Batman Begins and he dug it. So I'm a fan of Christopher Nolan, but I'm just a little concerned for him thinking I don't know, getting too big for his britches and just being like, I'm the best thing ever. And I don't know, there's an arrogance to the trailers that I've seen, at least for me, and it's kind of turned me off to it. And again, I'm just like not in the mood for like a big dramatic movie. I know, like, I don't know. Say what you want about me as a movie fan, but I just want action. I would just want to be entertained right now because life is hard. Brian, are you an Adam Sandler fan? I mean, when I was 15, it was Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, and everything that they did was hilarious. Stop looking at me, Schwan. I loved everything. And then when I got married and kind of grew up a little bit and like, I don't know, when I was like 24, started going back and watching some of these movies that I loved so much. And I was like, what? Like, I like this movie. I thought this was funny. Now that's just me. Like, I'm not saying that's for anybody else. Okay. Movies are all subjective. For me, I was like, I don't know if he's that funny. But then you see him in some other roles like Uncut Gems, which is like, oh my goodness, that movie is so claustrophobic. But then like even Hustle this year, Spanglish, like there's so much that's out there of him being like a great actor, like not just like, oh, he's super funny and he does your Scooby-Doo, like all that kind of stuff. Jimmy Fallon's so good at doing that impression. I'm not, but like he is funny, but I don't really love his comedy movies that much anymore. But when I was a teenager, it was like my whole personality. But Bill says, well, Dean, about not liking Sam, then Klaatu Baroda Nikto to you. Oh, all right. It's an Army of Darkness inside joke. Or I will Google it later, Bill. Thanks for being here, though, man. Henry Cavill to play Dean. You think that I can do the cocking the arms like he does in the bathroom scene of Rogue Nation? Like, nope. That's maybe like the worst call ever, Roland. I'm flattered, but nope. Keanu Reeves you both are nice guys. Aw, I love Keanu. Bill and Ted, another comedy movie that like is like defines my humor. The first one, although the second one's super fun, the people trash Bogus Journey, but I love that movie. Movie title, Baptist in the Basement. There's a Baptist in the basement. Oh, man. Canadian Bacon 2, The American Slice, Dean's Life Story. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Wow. Who'd have played Dean? Owen Wilson. I would love it. Sup, Laurel? How you doing? Ever see Memento? Yeah. I think the first time I watched it was like 5 years ago, and I dug it. I dug it quite a bit. Guy Pearce is another one of those actors. If he's in something, even if like most of his movies lately are just like these B action movies, and I always find him super fun. So Guy Pearce is great. The first person I was thinking to play you was Jason Momoa. I'm trying to imagine him with a backwards ball cap. That's something to picture. Jason Momoa? What? Aw, you guys think I'm way too charismatic. I am not that charismatic. You guys are sweet. Philip, I think I've asked this before at some point. Thoughts on Phoenix's Joker? Very different. Very different. That movie is good. Okay? There's some twisted stuff in it, but he's a twisted character, so it makes sense. But I will say, as a comic book fan, no, like that's not the Joker in the comics to me. So like I always have that. Like it's hard. Like I know some people are like, oh, the comic book nerds, get over themselves and just enjoy this for what it is. It's hard to do that when you've read these things so many times. Like, I don't know how many times I've read The Dark Knight Returns, and I think that's like some people say other ones, but to me, that's the best version of the Joker. And I just, it's hard for me to get over that kind of stuff. But Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, he's great. Phoenix is a great actor, and he does a great performance in that movie. That being said, I just don't think it's very accurate to the comic books, and I think there's something lost there. So for me, Heath Ledger's Joker is still the best. Even I love Jack Nicholson's Joker for different reasons, but Phoenix's Joker is in a league of his own, and I think he does a good performance for that movie. It's Arthur, right? He plays Arthur as Joker. Your life movie is how you became a Paedo Baptist. We aren't even talking theology, and it's already baptizing. All right, Presbys. Roland says my favorite movie is Amadeus. Amadeus. Wow, you are a scholar and a gentleman. What? Like I've got a stream where I've talked about some of my favorite movies, but it's hard. Like probably once I get the bias of Star Wars out of the way, because I do have a bias for Star Wars. Throw a question. If you got a question you want the stream to continue, I like hanging out. I appreciate everyone who's been watching, asking me questions and stuff, and distracting me from life. It is very nice and kind of you to do so. But we'll end it if you guys don't have any other things. But once I get past like the Star Wars stuff, because I love Star Wars, like we're in Star Wars right now. It's what I grew up on. I really felt like Han and Luke were my older brothers because I had 5 sisters and I was the only boy until I was like 13. So like Star Wars is my jam. And so once I get over that bias of just being like, well, it's all the original trilogy. Those are my favorite movies. So Empire would be at the top. Once I get past that, it's Jaws. I love Jaws. I love it so much. Chief Brody is one of my favorite movie characters of all time. I just love, like, he just has these fears. Like, he literally is forced into, like, the scariest place that he could be is there on the island because he's scared of water, and he faces his fears to be able to go out and hunt down the shark to protect his family. And I just love him for it. There's a lot of richness in this movie. Great stuff from Spielberg too, with camera work, and just the story is fantastic. Interesting characters. The boat scene with all of them becoming friends over their different scars and all of that, fantastic. So Jaws would probably be my favorite movie outside of Star Wars. And then It's a Wonderful Life, which to me, it's hard because I want to watch it like a lot, but I always save it for Christmas Eve. And George Bailey. It's like Luke Skywalker, as far as like movie characters. It's Luke Skywalker, and then Chief Brody, and then George Bailey. Well, like those are my favorite movie characters. You guys didn't ask that, but I gave it to you anyway. That's what you get on the Movie Dean channel. Matthew Musgrave, Jason Momoa, spot on. How? I don't look anything like him. Like I'm taking it as a big win, like that guy's awesome. So like, okay, all right, I'll take it. I love it. But you're wrong. But I love it. Bill, favorite movie is old movie Metropolis. Hey, I've seen that. You see, a lot of movies, like, see the cover of that is what made me go like, oh, it's robots like Star Wars. Like this is C-3PO. It's not. But a lot of movies I got on VHS from the library down the street as a kid, and they would just let you check out pretty much anything. Like anything. And if my parents weren't paying attention, I could watch anything. So, and there were a lot of us kids, a lot of us Lentinis running around. So it's just like, a lot of times I would be able to watch whatever I want. And then sometimes I would just fumble into like actually classic movies thinking this is about a robot. C-3PO. It's not C-3PO. Cody says, I'd watch Jack Black play Dean. Why have you not been grumpy baptized? Nacho Libre is another one, man. Oh, like Napoleon Dynamite was a revelation for me in high school. And then Nacho Libre. I had a pen that had Nacho Libre like talking every time he clicked on it, and I loved it. Why have you not been grumpy baptized? Baptized! Oh, that's something I need to add in here for the theology channel. They forced me to watch Amadeus in music appreciation semester 1 of college. I have bad memories. Well, movies are subjective, Philip. Roland says, fave black and white movie from the really old days. Well, I just said it, so It's a Wonderful Life. After that, the first half of The Wizard of Oz. I love The Wizard of Oz. Again, one of those things I got from my mom. A lot of my movie stuff is attached to my mom. And The Chosen is to Christian media as Lord of the Rings is to fantasy films. I don't know if that's true. Bill says Jaws, awesome movie. It 100% is. It's so great. So great. And I like everyone knows it. So it's not like being like, oh, it's my favorite movies. Yeah, everyone says that. I get it. But I just love it. Pam says, a bit obscure maybe, but The Crow with Brandon Lee. I have a soft spot for that movie. There's a lot of people who love that movie. Bombed at the time, but there's like, that is like almost the epitome of a cult classic. Like there's something about it. Like people have just flocked. I'm sorry I did it. But they flocked to it. Philip says Dean loves The Chosen. Nope. Nope. And I get told about it all the time. Bill saw it when it came out about Jaws. That, man, what an experience that would be. Because like that was one of the first huge like summer blockbusters that like it was huge at the time. I think actually was it The Movies That Made Us, which is a great series on Netflix. If you haven't checked that out, The Movies That Made Us, super fun. You know, kind of derivative, like same jokes and different things like for the show. But interesting little tidbits about movies. But I think they did one about Jaws and like being like the first blockbuster, and that was pretty fun. But man, that would be cool. Like if I could go back and see any movie, like of course I would go see the original Star Wars, and then maybe Jaws, and then actually probably The Wizard of Oz, from going from black and white to color and seeing how people react to that in a movie. That would be really interesting to see all of that. Philip, The Goonies, Pacific Northwest, The Goonies. Yeah, I like the movie. TV show, not so much. I will say that movie is weird as heck. Like, because if you don't care about the TV show, you're just like, who are these kids? But the movie stands out on its own, but it's also just like a really weird story. And these characters, like, they're such jerks, like all of them, but there's still something really lovable about them. And like Josh Brolin is Josh Brolin. So like, that's like, he's awesome. He was cool. He was probably like 4 years old, and all like the like teenagers like, I want to be like that guy when I grow up. He's so rad. You know, like that's just Josh Brolin. But like setting him aside, the rest of the characters are just so mean. They're so awful to each other, and yet it works. And there's something also about like everyone yelling all the time. They're all constantly yelling at each other, but they still care about each other, and they're having fun, and they're having an adventure. And all of that is just like when you see kids having like a grown-up adventure, it's just heartwarming. So I love The Goonies, the original movie. Cody, that is awesome. We are sitting outside in the dark. I think I might have just laughed hard enough to wake my sleeping kids inside. Grumpy baptized, yes. Your favorite beard in a movie? My beard's growing back. For people who are new to any of my channels, my beard was like down here, somewhere down here. And I shaved it off. It was a mistake. I regret it. I issued a public apology. So, but I'm a big beard guy. Your favorite beard in a movie? Harrison Ford in The Fugitive. That beard was great, and I think it looked really good on him. And so that's probably my favorite. The Fugitive is one of my favorite movies. That's just fun, dude. That's just like a fun adventure watching Tommy Lee Jones chase after Harrison Ford. Love it. Any other beards that like? Oh, well, talking about Dune earlier. I always want to say Jason Isaac, and it's not. I get that. That's the guy from The Patriot, the guy with white hair from Harry Potter. Oscar Isaac. His beard as Paul Atreides' dad. What is his name? Atreides. Something Atreides. But he is noble as heck in that movie, and his beard represents it. It's not like the longest beard or anything, but it is majestic. So I don't know if it's just like the right amount of gray in it or something. He just looks so cool. So probably those two. There's probably like tons of other ones I'm just blanking on. I don't know. Dear Christian Podcast, real question. Why do you think Disney has not released the original theatrical release of the original Star Wars trilogy? What do you think it will take for this to finally happen? Someone to buy them out? Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's probably like, we aren't privy to all the details of the contract between George Lucas and Disney. But as much as stuff as I've watched about George Lucas, who to me is one of the greatest film innovators of all time, like all time, more than Spielberg, it's George Lucas. Lucasfilm and everything that they did for all of movies, with like making the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, for innovating all of that, T2, like Terminator 2, like they did a lot of amazing things, and it's not just Star Wars. And then sound also. Anyways, I've watched a lot of stuff about George Lucas, and I just don't think that he will ever let those see the light of day. So I would assume that was buried in a contract where they can just not, they're never allowed to do that. It's like he could sue the crap out of them if they ever do. So I don't know, for them to sell it somehow to someone else and that to go away. But I don't think we'll ever see it. I think that the version that is out there is his vision for it, of what he wanted it to be. And I assume that is, legally binding somewhere to where they'll just never be able to put it out. And it's a shame. It is. Like, some people would be like, oh, they'll just make money off of it, putting it out. But also it's just better stuff. Like, let it be a little flawed. Let it be that we don't know what Jabba the Hutt looks like in, A New Hope. Like, we don't need to. We don't need that yet. We can see him in Return of the Jedi. It's fine. Good movie, The Crow. Great soundtrack. Oh. Yeah, I saw Jaws as a kid. I wouldn't swim even in a pool. I bet people were terrified. Like, I bet, like, people who, like, operated pools were like, I hate Steven Spielberg. He ruined my business. There is somebody out there who owned, like, a rec center of some kind, and is just, like, has a dartboard with Steven Spielberg's face on it. And it's just like, that guy ruined my whole life. I went broke because of this guy. There's someone out there. Matthew says, my last The Chosen comment for a few months. Have you watched any of the episodes yet? Nope. And not gonna. I gotta say, there was a part of me that's like, maybe I should. People are saying it's great. But then all the comments that I've gotten about those videos, I'm not giving them a bone at all. Cause honestly, the only reason why I would watch it is so I can make a video about it. I'm not really all that interested for myself. But then people were just so mean about it. Nope. It made you afraid of the water. You go in the water, shark in the water. Philip, I don't think it would, but Zombieland sits right with me, Bill Murray. I know that there's stuff. Bill Murray's a controversial guy these days. There's all kinds of stuff. He like stuffed a kid in a trash can at SNL, like not as a joke. Like there's stuff. There's stuff with Bill Murray. That being said, I have socks with his face all over him. Like I love Bill Murray. As far as his movies go, and Zombieland is pretty good. I like that movie. I've not seen much Wes Anderson, but a friend introduced me to Grand Budapest Hotel, and a weird part of me loved it. Welcome to the club. You know what just happened? You just got West. Not with a T, with an ED at the end. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like you watch the trailers and you're like, this is so bizarre, for these movies. And like, what even are these things? What's the story? And then you watch these movies and you're just sucked into this weird little world where there's just all these interesting colors and textures and odd camera placement that shouldn't work, but it does. And like no movement in the camera except for side to side. And it's just, everything about it is great. Now, some of the stories, like he's a weird dude. Wes Anderson is a very weird dude. But for me too, Aaron, there's a weird part of me. And the weird part of me loves the weirdness of Wes Anderson. And so he's one of my favorite filmmakers, just because he's so different. Life Aquatic is probably my favorite. But Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm late to the game with Wes Anderson. Isle of Dogs, love Isle of Dogs. So cute. Looking forward to Asteroid City. It's not in my city. It's not anywhere close to me. I would have to drive literally hundreds of miles to go and see this movie. But I want to. There's a part of me that wants to. The weird part of me wants to. Flocked, but it's a Murder of Crows, isn't it? Yeah, I said what I said. Laurel, you do a lot of redecorating between Underdog Theology and Movie Dean, unless you are green screening things. Nope. Not a green screen. This is Wayne's World. Yeah. I have books down there that I place up here. This is behind the scenes. But basically I just take the VHSs down and some of the other movie stuff, and I just put books in their place. And then I have changed things with the TV. It was a lot easier because like that took up so much of the background. But now having a poster there, it's not really theology. So I take the camera in a little bit. Like right now the camera is like 8 feet away from me, maybe. And so I just come in a little bit and, it works. It works. It's going to work, I think. But yeah, it's like 5 minutes of, okay, I got to make sure I get all these things taken down, whatever. There's a part of me that's like, do I need to? Because if it's closer to me, like the camera's closer, the background gets blurrier. So maybe I don't need to necessarily. But, when I talk about other stuff, I want people to think, oh, he's smart about those things. He's got books. People care. I have found out. People care. Tyler says The Fugitive is awesome. Right? Like, oh man, there's so much. It's iconic, man. Like everything with the dam. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. It's like, oh, it's so cool. And just, I think all of us have thought at some point, maybe you've committed a crime, maybe you haven't. And you're wondering, will I get away with it? If they found me, or if I was framed, we've all had that horror thought in our head. What if I was framed for something? Maybe it's your brother-in-law. You're like, I think my brother-in-law would do this. He frames you for something, and you're just like, what would I do? How would I get away? Could I get away? Like now it's like incredibly harder. Cameras literally everywhere, tracking devices all over the place. But if you put yourself in, I don't know, when was it, like 90, 95, 96, right? It's not that old, is it? But if you put yourself in that time frame, you're like, maybe I could get away. Maybe I could get away from the authorities. Put on a white coat and no one suspects, in the hospital. Like it's just fun. It's just fun. And I really dig that movie. Danny, hey man, look at that beard every time. Grand Budapest was great. I love the colors and cinematography in Wes Anderson flicks. Yeah, it's just fun. Like, there's something to it. It's so quirky, it's different, and I love it. Dear Christians podcast, Robert Redford's Jeremiah Johnson beard is so legendary that it is now a meme gif. It's on a whole nother level. Roland, I don't care that much for Grand Budapest Hotel. Yeah, it's all subjective, man. I dig it. It's pretty fun for me. There are parts that are just like this. In a Wes Anderson movie, there are always going to be things that are just like, what? But, you just move on. You don't have to like every aspect of it. Underworld versus Resident Evil. I don't like any of these franchises. Vampires gross me out. Vampires really truly gross me out. Even I was actually thinking about seeing what's the new Nick Cage one? It's like something, it's not Redford. I don't know. Something with an R. I wanted to go and see it, and then I was like, no, I watched the trailer again, and I was like, just something about it just grosses me out. It's not like I'm not scared. It's just, I find it nauseating. The whole idea of vampires. So I don't know. Zombies I can dig. It's weird. Okay. I'm not saying it's consistent. I'm just saying it is what it is. So I don't know. Resident Evil probably. Dean, what would you like seen turned into a movie from whatever book, comic, video games? What would be Zelda movies? Well, that's going to happen. It is going to happen. The Zelda games, I would like to see those in a movie form, just like a fantastic story. NBA Jam. No. What would I like? All right. Well, comic book wise, and it's not obviously there's Batman movies, and I think at probably some point we'll get it. The Court of Owls is one of my favorite storylines that hasn't been made into a movie. And so I would really like to see that. By the way, also selfishly to, pump up the value, I have Batman #1 signed by Greg Capullo, who is the artist. So maybe it'll make it worth something. It is worth something, but it's my greatest treasure that I have in all of my stuff. But there's so much out there. I would love to see a really good Chronicles of Narnia. I know obviously Disney tried it, and it's not that's awful, but there's a part of me that's just I wish we really could have a really, really good one that was true to C.S. Lewis. So I would want that. I don't know. So those would probably be the ones. I don't really play video games. I know them from when I was a kid. But I play NBA games, but I don't know, man. And I don't read a lot of fiction. I just I read theology and comic books and a lot more comic books than anything else, actually. Where is it? Oh, it's over there. This is what I was reading at the hospital today. It was I could be reading books that, will actually help me in life. But nope, I just read some comics. But, Roland says, I'd like to see a great Zelda movie. Well, there you go. Yeah, that would be really fun. Cody says, in Bible college, I did a paper on the theology of Wayne's World. Didn't get the best grade. Oh, I'd like to read that paper. That's cool, man. You got to show your personality, right? Whatever. They weren't worthy. No, it's nice to have clear backgrounds that associate with that topic. A visual fiesta. Keep it up. I didn't know anything about Asteroid City until now. Date night in the near future. Well, there you go. You're welcome. That's what I do on these streams. Give people something to do because they're bored, like me. Have you ever worked in radio? I have. Not a whole lot, but I did do some radio for a Christian radio station in Washington for a little bit, just a little bit, like just a couple little voice things. But no, not anything like real deep. It would be fun. But here's the thing. Like radio, I think will make a comeback, but it's kind of dying right now to podcasts. So, I mean, like it's kind of the same. And it's not the same thing. Aaron Renfield, that's what it is. NBA Jam. He's on fire. So fun. It's one of my favorite games of all time, man. Roland says Court of Owls is on the horrible CW show Gotham Knights. What? No. No. I didn't even know about this TV show. I don't watch TV like anymore. Pretty much like we watch the Great Food Truck Race. We watch Survivor, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. And then like streaming stuff. So I don't really watch TV except for every once in a while when I can get my kids to be into it. You know, I watch SmackDown on Friday nights. But they did Court of Owls. I hate that. I hate that when somebody who's on like a lower level and couldn't possibly do justice to a story, they're like, we'll take a swing at it. It's like, no, you're going to ruin it for everybody. Leave it alone. Wait until they can actually do it well. It's one of the best. All right. Snyder's great. It's not that Snyder. It's the other Snyder. What's your least favorite MCU movie and why? It is Eternals. I don't even have to think because it's a garbage movie. So boring. All right, here's the deal. Eternals has nothing rewarding about it. I challenge anyone to tell me something that they think that Eternals added to movies. Like something that they did that is original. Something that they did that helped Marvel in any way. Something that they did that was interesting. There's nothing. There's empty plots. Like there's, oh, okay, Angelina Jolie has some kind of form of dementia. Cool. Well, now she doesn't. What? Like now she could be a fighter. You know, like all of it sucks. It is so boring. I loved. Is it Chloe Zhao? Nomadland. One of my favorite movies of that year. I just really dug that movie. It's got Frances McDormand in it. Very interesting story of this older lady trying to figure out her life, losing connections with people, trying to figure out like this van life thing. And it's just interesting. And it's a beautiful movie. And so when she was tasked with the Eternals, I was like, I don't know who these people are. Even as a comic book fan, I'm like, I don't know who they are. And I was expecting to like be wowed. Nope. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I love MCU movies, even the bad ones. I've watched Iron Man 2, I don't know how many times, okay? Like probably upwards of 20 plus, okay? These are my movies. I have them on in the background when I'm doing stuff. I love superhero movies. I will never watch Eternals ever again. All right, I might. When I'm showing my oldest walking all the way through the MCU, I might watch it one more time. But probably not again. That movie is awful. And I don't understand because the cast is actually pretty decent, but and she was a great director in Nomadland, so I don't understand how it fell apart so bad, but it does. Like the story's so bland. Druid sucks. All right. Some other ones I will say, I don't know. Like I don't hate a lot of the MCU. Like there's like even Thor: The Dark World has moments for me. Like Iron Man 2, I think is actually a decent movie. Okay, like I know some people will be like, but the same people will praise Captain America: Civil War for Baron Zemo's story, and then like hate, everything that they're doing in Iron Man 2. It's like that's the same story. He was trying to make this guy bleed. It's the same kind of deal. Yeah. All right. I'll stop before I could just rant forever about it. That's a good question. Cody, I'd like to see the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor games as movies. That would be fun. Yeah. Much better writing than most of the recent Star Wars films. Oh, snap. Shots fired. Yeah. I love that first one. Fallen Order. I played that. I don't play a lot of video games, but I heard the story was so great, and so I bought that one. Actually, my wife bought it for me for like Father's Day or something whenever it came out. It was like 6 months later, and then I played it, and I really dug it. The story was really strong. Did you not like the BBC Narnia? I grew up on that. Like, I don't know how many times I watched that as a kid. Had that at school because conservative. Have you seen Air? About the Air Jordans? Lots of swearing, but a cool retro vibe. Yeah, I was not looking forward to that movie. Like, I'm kind of just over the shtick of like The Big Short, where it's like, oh, like I like The Big Short, but it's like, oh, it's a real thing, but we're gonna make fun of it, and like it's gonna be comedy and in your face, and it feels like very much like it's funny, right? And there's like a bunch of people who tried to copy that style. And because Adam McKay is the one behind The Big Short, he's a genius. And these people aren't. Like, they're not Adam McKay, at least. That, like, there have been a bunch of movies like that I just haven't dug. And when I saw the trailer for this, it felt like that. And like Ben Affleck, who's way, like, he's a huge name. And it's a huge face, literally a huge face. And like seeing him in like all the 90s stuff or late 80s stuff, it's just like, I don't know, like I was thinking that this was going to be garbage, and like I know a lot of people loved it, but it just didn't seem like something that would be up my alley, even though Jordan's like, I love Jordan and like I love basketball, and so like you'd think I would like it, but the trailer really turned me off. And then I watched it and I thought it was great, but it did have Matt Damon in it, and he kind of took me out of it a couple times. Also, like Jason Bateman is in it, and it's just like, oh, like it just felt like Bateman doing Bateman. But I think actually Ben Affleck gave one of his better performances in a while in that movie when he's trying to take over the meeting. Also, what's his name? Him and Jackie Chan, Rush Hour. Chris Tucker, great role for Chris Tucker. Haven't seen him in a whole lot, but he was good in that. But Iron Man 2 is bad. Just go back and rewatch it. Like, I think that there's a lot to love there. What they did with the Court of Owls is atrocious. Well, I'm never going to see it. Hopefully they do it with a movie and it's better. Problem with Eternals is the sacked source material. Whacked. Yeah. I never read it. Like, I didn't know who these characters were. I had to Wikipedia it. And I was one of the guys who knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy, okay? I like comics. And like I don't have like the depth that some people do, and I'm not as old as some people, and they have different connections. Like, there's a lot of stuff in the 70s and 80s I have no idea about. But I did know who the Guardians were, and I had no idea who the Eternals were. Yeah, so they went for a deep dive there and just came out empty. And I hope we never see anything that was in that movie talked about ever again. Aaron, I liked Hawkeye, but hated what they did with Daredevil's Kingpin at the end. Charlie Cox's Daredevil would have been a good movie. Don't get me going about Daredevil. Daredevil season 1, episode 2 is one of my favorite hero stories of all time. It has, like, everyone knows it for like the hallway scene, but just what this man is willing to do to save this boy who's been taken and return him to his father. I love it. I love it. I get emotional thinking about him carrying out that boy from that hallway and everything that he went through. I love that. Love that 45 minutes of television. Daredevil, with Kingpin, what they did with, with Hawkeye. Yeah. Kingpin. I don't know. He's overpowered, obviously. He's like chucking people through all kinds of stuff. They gave him superpowers, but yeah. Are you, is it working? Okay. Are you at all optimistic about James Gunn at the helm for future DC films? I had a lot more hope for him before he pushed The Flash so hard. Like, he really hurt his credibility with saying this is one of the best superhero movies ever made. He said that. No one told him to say that. I know he's the head of DC moving forward, but he didn't have to say that. He could have just said, we really like this movie. We believe in this movie. But he said it's one of the best superhero movies ever made. And to me, that really hurt his stock. And also, I rewatched The Suicide Squad the other day. It's one of those movies I watch some of these superhero movies when I'm like, doing the laundry or, cleaning up something, working on a project, editing videos, different things like that. And watch The Suicide Squad, and it's just not holding up for me. It's not as solid as I remember. And this was after I did the DCEU tier list on my channel. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Now, again, like going back over, where is it? Right here. Like, they look the part. Rachel Brosnahan is a great actress. I could tell you that much. But I don't know who David Corenswet is. But, I think it's a good step. I just don't know. So maybe he's going to be able to pull it all together and have an amazing story moving forward. But I don't know. Who is your favorite MCU character, and why is it not Captain Marvel? You know what? It is. No, it's not. It's Steve Rogers. Like, for a long time, it was like Superman was my first love, and then it transitioned to Captain America. Well, at first it's Spider-Man. It went from Superman to Spider-Man, and then something happened in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon that changed my life. Okay. There was a moment where this was the 90s cartoon that I remember. I've said this so many times. I literally remember running home in kindergarten. Like, my school was like a couple blocks away from my house, and I would run home. And if I ran as fast as I could make it in time for the first commercial to be done and to be able to catch the rest of the Spider-Man cartoon, the 90s version. And in that, they had Captain America, and he was fighting the Red Skull, and it wasn't like comic accurate, but I didn't know about that then. Like, again, kindergartner. And so I was blown away at this character. Who is Captain America? He seems so awesome. And then, I got into comics, started reading some of his stuff, and I was like, this guy is great. And then as I got older with different runs, like Ed Brubaker's legendary run, I think one of the best runs, and that's, I'm just realizing, if you're not one of the best runs, what? It's like the run of him being on a project. I love Ed Brubaker's work on it. And Ed Brubaker is in Winter Soldier, which is super appropriate because he brought back Bucky Barnes in the comics. But he is the handler for Sebastian Stan. So in when they go into like that vault thing and he's being strapped up, because he's like, I remember him. No, I remember him. And they have to mind wipe him again. That's Ed Brubaker. So Captain America, I just love him. I love him. He is Superman with less powers. He is righteous. He is the guy that is always trying to do the honorable thing and to think about others first. He's a leader. To me, he's my favorite MCU character, both in the comics and in the movies. It is pretty good. Not strictly movies, but Mrs. Hulk. What think ye? For She-Hulk, I hated it. I don't know. Like, I didn't read comics of her. My comics I got mostly from thrift stores until I actually had money. And by that time, like, I was also shamed out of not liking comics. Like a lot of comic book fans, I was bullied. Shocker, right? So like it was like, that's not cool. Don't read comics. Basketball. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like just transition of I'm gonna like basketball. And I got super into basketball. Comics fell by the wayside, except for like movies and TV shows. Smallville was huge at the time, like that kind of stuff. But then like when the Marvel movies came out, I was like, oh man, I miss it. I miss it a lot. And so I got comics again, went back into it, but I just never read She-Hulk, and the TV show sucked. It just did. It just sucked. Everything about it sucked. The plot lines like never developed into anything. I don't know what the show was trying to do. I forget the actress's name. She's from Regina, Saskatchewan, which is like hometown kid around these parts. And I really dug her as She-Hulk, but nope. Did not like the show. Don't like the character. Dear Christians podcast, totally agree about Gunn overselling the Flash and the Suicide Squad not holding up. He definitely has me nervous. Agreed. I just think that, man, we got a lot of work to do for these DC movies. And what if Superman fails? That's what I keep on coming back to. Okay. What if this guy, he might be great. Okay. He might be great. But what if the movie sucks? What if the movie, or maybe even worse, what if the movie is just okay? Like, what does that do for this whole thing? Like, they have gotten to the point. They are so late to the game. They tried really pushing the Zack Snyder stuff. And regardless of what you think of Zack Snyder, I really dug Man of Steel. But I can show this again. I always show this. I just have it sitting on my desk now. This is my ticket. This is my ticket for seeing Man of Steel on June 13th, 2013. I haven't put it away yet, so I'm just going to keep on showing it every stream. So I love Man of Steel, but like it didn't work with audiences, and they just kept on pushing it, and just, oh man, it's the whole thing. So I just, they needed to do something, and they just never did it. They just kept on patching holes, and it never worked. Edgar Gonzalez says, what is your top 5 best movies of all time? That's a video. That's a video. I'm not going to do that right now. It's a good question, Edgar. And it's a question that I'm going to make a whole video about, of I'll probably do my top 10 and make it an actual video. But some that would be up there. Empire Strikes Back. I have to. Jaws, It's a Wonderful Life, Back to the Future. And I don't want to put just Star Wars movies, so I'll leave the other ones out. I don't know what would be in that 5 spot off the top of my head. Orange County's up there. I'm just saying, I love that movie so much. Thoughts on the Clone Wars TV show? I'm divided, as it was Lucas's definitive view of that era. However, I dislike how it overwrote so much pre-established expanded universe continuity. That's always the thing. It's always the thing. They did themselves a disservice with putting out stuff and then being like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'll either say it is or say it isn't, and don't put it out. But they wanted to make money off of it. So I like the Clone Wars. I really dug those. Didn't think that I would, and came kind of late to the game. I remember as soon as they started talking, like they brought back Darth Maul, and I was like, wait, what? I am watching this now. So, for me, I thought it was made for kids. And then I rewatched all of them, and I've watched every episode, and I dig it. I dig it. I love what they do with the clones and, building out, this thing that Obi-Wan Kenobi talked about in A New Hope. He fought with me in the Clone Wars talking about Anakin. And all of us were like, what? The Clone Wars? That sounds super cool. Luke, talk to him about the Clone Wars. Like, that's always something that stuck in with me. He didn't ask anything about it. Like, he's like I know in that, like, he knows what the Clone Wars are because it would be like this thing that everyone knew about. But like, to not ask more questions as soon as Obi-Wan Kenobi says that. But I like that we got a lot more in it. But yeah, I agree. Like, it's hard when you have like all this like loosely connected stuff. And it's kind of like the problem in DC right now. Like, people are getting mad about different things. Is this real? Is it not? Does it hold up? Is it not? You were probably on Team Captain America for the Civil War movie. Oh, 100%, because it was the right side. There's no debate. It was the right side. If Captain America is on a side, it's the right side. I was Team Iron Man all the way, and he ended up being right, by the way. Did he? I don't think so. It could have gone bad. It could have gone real bad. Superman and Aquaman grew up in Des Moines, playing each other in soccer. Well, a previous Superman, they got rid of that one, I think. Yeah, that's true. Pam, I didn't even show that commented. I've learned a lot here tonight. So thanks, everyone. I got to take off. Peace out, people of the Baptist basement. All right. I appreciate you hanging out with me. And actually, I should probably get gone too. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me, whether you came from my theology stuff, the channel Dean Lentini, or whether you came from the channel of Movie Dean. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. It's not been like the easiest week, and I really wanted something to just distract me for a couple hours and be fun and talk about stuff that matters, but it doesn't, like it's not hard. It's not difficult. It's just, these are things that we all love and we can talk and be nerds about them. That's what I like to do. So I appreciate all of you hanging out with me. Once again, we got a Superman. He's Superman. If you're interested in that, then subscribe. We'll be talking about it. We'll be talking a lot about Superman in the future on the Movie Dean channel. But yeah. All right. I'm heading out. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Heading out as you come into the stream. I appreciate it, though. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.